Good evening, everyone. It's 8:30 Thursday night. You know what that means. It's time once again for the Third and Long podcast with me, the incomparable Shane Harris, representing my beloved Calgary Flames tonight because the Ravens haven't got a game this week, along with the illustrious number one best teacher in the country, Mr. Philip Pellins, and how about you over there, Mr. Butler Henderson. Jim, how's it going? You all right or what?
Did you say incompetent?
Possibly. A lot of words in there.
Just had to check. I was like, I swear he said incompetent. And how come Phil there gets a massive big up and I just get my busted?
It's all right, but I think...
cheers for that. You know, there's me. You know, and I get no build up to it at all. It's like, that's not very fair. And why can't I find anything to share the group? That's a bit of crap.
There you go.
How are we both, gentlemen? How are we all doing this wonderful, wonderful autumn day that we've had today?
All right, Di. Been a quiet week for me.
Yeah,
it's been...
It's been a day.
Shall we crack on with your lot on Monday night, Shano?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I didn't want to come across as too biased reviewing this game, but since nobody else want to do it, I'll quite happily take the reins. If you recall, on the last time we spoke on Monday, I said the Flames lost on the weekend, and United did. So you bet the house on the Ravens winning. If you listen to me, you'll be homeless because the boys put a shift. All right, John. Because the boys put a shift in, likely with the touchdown catch in the first quarter. Kenyon Drake is really, really impressing me. I was a bit suspect when we first picked him up, but what a great acquisition he's been. He put 2 touchdowns in on Monday night. The Saints were like, meh. I didn't think they offered a lot. To be fair, Justin Houston with the pick and 2.5 sacks as the newly crowned AFC Defensive Player of the Week, and there's nobody else
I'm a bit angry about that one. So
what we got?
Matt Judon. Okay, so Matt Judon, 3 sacks. Where's his stats? Because his stats are on front of me somewhere. So yeah, Matt Judon, 3 sacks. 3 tackles for loss, 6 tackles and 4 QB hits. Surely they're better stats than then the interception and then 2 sacks. I don't get who is voting for these awards because it isn't. It's not right.
I can't understand it. I can't take it, but I can't.
You'll take it, won't you? But yeah, it doesn't make sense to be honest, does it? To be fair.
So I thought we struggled without Mark Andrews, but fair play. The whole squad sort of pulled together, and it was an easy win in the end. We won by 2 scores, by two touchdowns, and 2 extra points. And now we're not on this week. Our next game is the 20th of November, and I believe it's against the Panthers.
Oh, that means you'll go to what, 5-4?
It'd be 7-3.
7-3, is it? Ah, cool. I mean, I'll be truly honest, I've not seen it. It looks like you were in pretty much control from what I've seen for the box scores and all the stats and all that. You're pretty much in control of it. Lamar Jackson was hardly touched. Lamar Jackson is hardly touched, to be fair, isn't he? Taysom Hill had a cameo at quarterback, and that was really about it, isn't he, from the Saints?
Yeah. I don't think, like I said, I didn't think they put up much offense. They got a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but by then it was too late.
Yeah, I mean, Alvin Kamara only had 9 carries for 30 yards, and someone with Alvin Kamara's capabilities needs to be getting a lot more whole touch there. Give that bloke the rock, let him pound it in, because that's the way your offense is going to work, and that's the way you're going to win games. And Saints don't seem to be winning games. They want to be taking a couple of extra picks because they know that you're going to get the 32nd pick at some point.
I would say one positive though. Chris Olave impressed me like he has done pretty much most of the season. He was targeted 9 times, 6 receptions, 71 yards. It looked like to me they were using him as a check down receiver. If they needed important, if they needed a down say like on second and third, they'd always pass to him, and 9 times out of 10 he catch the ball.
Do you reckon they're missing Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry?
Oh yes, 100%. And like it would have been a bit more of a close game if if they both were playing. But thankfully for us, I don't wish injury on anybody. But thankfully for us, they weren't, and we are now 6-3, and they fall 2, 3, and 6.
Nice. Oh, that's good. It's nice. Unfortunately, like I said, I haven't been able to get that. I've had one of them weeks. I think we've all had one of them weeks this week. But it's nice that the teams are starting to get it, because you did have a pretty bad season. You had a really bad injury hit season last year, didn't you? So it's nice to have that. You're another team back out there, another team fighting that should be out there, because you are a championship winning team or championship capability winning team.
If anybody asks me about my what sort of team are the Ravens, who don't know anything about American football but know about soccer, I'll say we are the Arsenal, with a there or thereabouts, every season. Yeah. I wouldn't say Newcastle, because Newcastle are not there or thereabouts,
Have they got a running quarterback for Arsenal as well? What's he on?
Honestly, what are you just plucking this out of the air? Like, what is that? Arsenal, Baltimore Ravens, the Arsenal of the NFL. Imagine that. So you start off strong, but ultimately bottle. Is that what you're saying?
What have we seen recently? What have we seen in the last couple of seasons? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, swiftly moving on.
Yeah, to be fair, there's not been a massive amount of news this week. Okay, there's a couple of injuries. Josh Allen is questionable with his sprained ankle, or someone said, I read someone he torn his tendon, but I've just read it's mainly sprained. Kyler Murray's at a hamstring. Matt Stafford with a concussion. They're the 3 major ones. I don't know if any other ones I come in.
No.
I did see something. I don't know if Ollie shared it with you, the group, or was it just myself, but I don't know if you know, but the Kelseys do a podcast together. And they're on about turf and grass, and they hate playing on turf. They'd rather be on grass.
Yeah. I've noticed. I mean, it's not just us that says it. I mean, I've listened to on the Locked On 49ers podcast as well. That's a good one. That's a good one, John. Arsenal of the AFC North.
John,
I mean, no London team has progressed into the Carabao Cup, so I guess a trophy is not going to London this year, which will be quite nice. Might be going to the northeast. We don't know yet.
Northwest Club's still in there.
There's been a nice kind of I say nice. There's been quite a lot of talk on other podcasts. I mean, we've mentioned it. I've mentioned it lots of times. I've played on turf. I've played on grass. I much prefer playing on grass than I play on turf. It's just a different atmosphere. Like on grass, you're more willing to throw yourself about. It's just a different atmosphere. Whilst on turf, you've got the astro burns. There's no give when you run, so your knees. Like I said before, one of the things that I had a couple of years ago is we were training on turf up until when the season started, and I tore my calf because it was just painful. And that did me in for the rest of the season. It was horrible.
Yeah,
I couldn't run properly. I went for physiotherapy. I had gels in my shoes. I did everything I could to try and get through that pain barrier. But playing on turf is horrible, absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
and I've just noticed more and more NFL players are being quite vocal about it, especially when you have individual NFL teams. Kind of like what we have in the UK with our cost of living crisis, where these firms are publicizing the profits that each team is making. So you have all these big, massive owners in the NFL saying, "Oh, we've made record profits, or we've done this, we've made this much money," and their players are suffering because of it. So we think about where you're going to reinvest that into your team.
Yep.
That's where you really need to think about for the longevity of your players, because I'm sick and tired of a 49er player going down because they're playing on turf. It just ruins my afternoon. Or may even say, I think that might be something that it might not change in this off season, but I think over the next couple of years, it's going to get a more vocal.
Definitely, especially if you've now got players on their own podcast going out going, "This needs to be done. This needs to be done."
Yeah. I gotta be honest, boys. I've got no dog in this fight because the only exercise I get is jump into conclusions. So
hey,
and stretching the truth.
No.
There you go.
So John's asked, do any college teams use turf or the old grass?
I know West Virginia use grass, but that's as far as I know.
Clemson are grass. Michigan are grass as well. There's a few other the major ones are grass. I think I know Gators are grass, Ohio are grass, but there may be a few Astro ones out there as well. I'm not sure. Let's roll on. But like I said, there's not a huge amount of news this week. To Player of the Week. Phil, have you got yours with us? Have you got yours?
See,
I'll tell you what. While you're doing that, we'll go with Ollie's. Ollie is unfortunately still suffering with COVID. So hopefully he'll be back with us on Monday, and we do wish you all the best, mate. So we will go with his first. He has gone for the undoubted Player of the Week. No matter where you look at it, it's Joe Mixon.
Wow. What a performance.
211 total scrimmage yards, 5 touchdowns. Bengals offense for the week.
That's
Superb
unreal.
player. Every time I looked on Red Zone, he scored a touchdown. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Shano, over to you, my friend. Pinging along the screen now. Ooh.
No worries. Yeah. My Player of the Week is Justin Fields. I thought against a very strong Miami team, he was basically the only sort of offensive weapon the Bears had. He was the only hope they had. And the fact that he threw for 3 touchdowns and ran one in himself, he ran for 178 yards. There's only 1 or 2 quarterbacks in the league that are capable of that, and he's one of them. It's unreal. As I said, the Bears were very unlucky to lose the Dolphins by 3 points, but he also threw 17 to 28 and 123 yards himself. So like I said, he played really well, and one day he's going to be something. I think if he moves to a better franchise, he may even get a ring one day.
He's taken Michael Vick's record for the most running rushes in the league. I mean, you say there's 1 or 2 quarterbacks in the league who do that. Obviously, you have a running back who plays quarterback in your.
I wasn't going to say
that. But yeah, I mean, he is an electric player. So I think I've already given a hint who I've gone for. So I'm going to pop it on the screen anyway because he should have been the NFL's Player of the Week because he was superb. The whole Patriots defense was superb on Sunday. You know, they racked up a total 9 sacks. That's the most since 2018. Matt Judon, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 6 tackles in total, 4 QB hits. I mean, at times they were triple teaming him just to stop him getting to Sam Ellinger. It was ridiculous. I mean, he is our offense. Hopefully he'll keep this form going up because last season his form dipped after the bye week, and I hope that doesn't happen this season. Mr. Phil, are you ready, sir?
Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm going to go with Daniel Carlson, kicker for the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to give some love to the kickers.
Do you mean the Raiders?
Oh, no. Yeah, does he play for the Raiders?
I was going to say, wait, that's not right.
Oh, wait, you know what? Yeah, he's the only one that actually does his job for the Raiders. Yeah, I'm going to go with Daniel Carlson. I'm going to do Daniel Carlson. Yeah. The only thing on that team that works.
Love that, man. Yeah, I mean, he is the most expensive kicker in the league, and he is a brilliant kicker. Ollie's just piped up. What's he said? Is it good that the Patriots are on bye this week? That means Ollie can't pick a Patriots player for Player of the Week, catch a week, or put them in predictions.
I mean, Ollie Bear might have a point there, mate, to be fair.
I thought I was biased.
And Johnny
that's none of my business.
Oh well, at least Ollie's not here. You can't bang on about the Niners all day. Whee!
Ollie, I asked for CMC as my Player of the Week because when CMC isn't playing, the rest of the boys should be asking themselves, what is CMC doing? Where is CMC? What is he doing? Why is he not? That's literally what we should just do all the time when he's not playing. Right.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, we do have a wee bit of news that I want to go into because it kind of links into the AFC. Okay. Has anybody watched Jeff Saturday's press conference?
I haven't yet. I was at training when that happened on, so I haven't watched it. All right,
so Jeff Saturday, when asked about how he got the job, and this is a direct quote, right? So Jeff Saturday says when he was asked by Jim Irsay, he asked him, "Why am I a candidate for this job?" So Saturday full on acknowledges that he should not be in the position that he's in. He was high school coaching, and now he's just gone above this to the actual the role of it. And the full interview himself, where he goes, "My role here is for 8 games. When this is over, they will do an exhaustive search and pick whoever their best candidate is to be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. If I'm considered, I'd be honoured. I have no idea where this thing is going to go, not even a little bit," he told literally the reporters that day. "I'm completely comfortable with who I am as a man. I know I can lead men. I know I know the game of football, and I'm passionate about it. I have no fear of, are you qualified as someone else? I spent 14 years in a locker room. I went to the playoffs 12 times. I've got 5 dudes in the Hall of Fame that played with me. You don't think I've seen greatness? You don't think I've seen how many people prepare for a particular coach? How they coach? How they GM? How they work? I won a Super Bowl. I've been to 2." So, and then he goes and he finishes off with, "Here's the deal, man. None of us are promised a good job. I may be terrible at this after 8 games. I'll say goodbye, God bless you. I am no good. I might be really good at it. I have no idea, but he actually said this, I dang sure ain't gonna back down, I can tell you that." Oh my God.
If this coaching thing
can I now change my rating? Sorry, Shane.
Oh my God. Like, I watched it and I literally I word for word. That's word for word what he said. And please, our listeners, gents, I'll put you the link onto YouTube as well to watch it in full. When I joked on Monday about he is famous for giving the ball to Peyton Manning, I mean, that's literally was his job description, and then being cussed out on the sideline in an America's Game episode, Jeff Saturday legitimately could be my favourite person of all time, because this could be worse than when Tom Sula was the head coach of the 49ers. Like, this could be the most amazing car crash I've ever seen in the NFL, and I'm loving it.
Are they now hoping that they're going to end up as in probably 2nd or 3rd pick?
I mean, they're not in a bad position anyway. I mean, the Colts as a whole, they're 3-5-1. So
the 2nd in their division as well.
The 2nd in their division. It's not a particularly strong division. There's a potential that they'll get some form of wild card playoff place. I mean, they're not bad. I mean, they've still got things going for them. It's just, yeah, it's like they've self-destructed out of choice. Like, this is the thing. It's not even from ignorance. It's gone, oh man, we might as well just blow this up now. Let's actually start competing for the tank bowl.
Oh dear.
What's that?
I'm a bit scared to press share.
Don't do it.
On that resume, Trent could be coach. I've won a Super Bowl. I know players. I've been in a locker room.
Oh, I love it.
We can't even go 15 minutes into the show without Trent being mentioned now.
You might want to mute him. You know what? I might want to mute him because he's going to lose his rag now.
Yeah. The mute button's there. Right, I'm going to go on.
I'd actually love that, by the way. One thing I would love more than Jeff Saturday failing is Trent Dilfer falling forward again. Like gambolling more into executive positions.
Right, I'm going to go on catch of the week. We will need to commentate on this because I have taken off the volume because we don't want Ollie getting emails and telling us to behave.
Respect the shield. Respect the shield.
Yeah,
so, Mr. Hope is going for first. He asked me to choose. I have confirmed this with this. He's gone for Aiden Hutchins' interception of Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
Love this one.
What I've got here is Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, we critiqued this quite a lot on Monday because Aaron Rodgers throwing across his body, throwing into a blind corridor. But we didn't actually... How good Hutchinson did. He got up. He read the ball. He read the quarterback and dropped back into coverage. It was really good, defensive play on it.
I'm intrigued by Hutchinson anyway. I think he's only going to get better. I think he's going to turn into another Bosa. I like another JJ Watt. I can just see it. He reads the game incredibly well, and he is for a rookie. He is loved by his team. I mean, you only had to watch when the Lions were on Hard Knocks. They love him. They absolutely adore him. So a leader on the field, his team love him, and he's making plays on the field. Is only going to make it better. And Aaron Rodgers, regardless of what form he's in, he should not have been making that particular throw, that particular mistake. But on the other side of the coin, how much buzzing is he going to be? Because Aiden Hutchinson,
Laura.
rookie in the NFL, picks Aaron Rodgers in the end zone.
In possibly Aaron Rodgers' last season.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, it's amazing for his for his first year. Yes, the Lions are bad, but he is a massive standout on that defense.
You've only got to look at the likes of people, like the amount of people that failed to step up from college to the NFL. There's been so many hundreds of players over the years that I think, as you said, Phil, he's going to be incredible and he will be a leader on that defense for a long time.
100%.
All day long. And not only that, the DBs played really well. I mean, there was one lad who got his arm up and was really unlucky not to grab that ball. Otherwise, that would have been a pick and a half.
That was insane.
I don't normally show the celebration, but for JJ's, you've got to show the celebration of this one. Go on, Phil. Talk us through it, mate.
Right, so Cousins he's looking, and he picks it off fantastically well. I mean, it's such an incredibly hard catch anyway. And then that's such. I'm going to start doing that at school, actually.
What is that?
Sweet little move, sweet little dance. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be called, but I think it could catch on because if Antonio Brown's little is catching on, I don't see why that can catch on as well.
The kids are taking a mick at me because I was doing a bit of training earlier on. Doing a bit of the grid.
But also just add on to that, I mean, he is in incredibly tight coverage as well, and in the end zone, I mean, it might look big sometimes on TV, but it's not as big a space as you think it is. So he's not just controlling the ball. He's not just got a DB on him. He also needs to bring it in and keep his feet in bounds. And then even when he lands, he's got to keep hold of the ball. So it looks maybe like very, very straightforward, but there's so much positional play and so much positional skill that he's had to implement as he's done it. So that's when I saw it, I was like, going catch of the week. Because he's so good, and the Vikings now look so good.
I know, and I think the Bills could really struggle Sunday. Ollie's just popped up with something. Apparently, if Packers move from Rodgers this season, its cap is 100 million. Rodgers, you're sitting on the bench for a year, mate. But what happens if he does retire? Does the cap hit still take?
Well, if he retires, that's him. I mean, I don't know the NFL rules, but if he chooses to retire in contract, isn't that just him voiding?
Possibly.
And that's
you would
his
think
decision.
So, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
On the team is on the player.
I'm going to take my catch next, Shane, because
yes, bud, you carry on.
Because I just want to rile Ollie a little bit more on that one. So mine is from Thursday Night Football, and this was probably the best play of Texans night, bar Damian Pierce, I think, personally. Philip Dorsett running a great route on the outside, burnt James Bradbury, and the body movement. I mean, eyes permanently on it. It was a brilliant catch, it's like out here. Really,
look at the speed, he's like Dirty Dancing.
It was great speed. Got away from it, broke away. Superb play. Love that one. And to control it as well as it's falling to ground, it was right on the end. I mean, we love the toe drag swags.
Oh man, I love that
as well.
I mean,
but that was really good, and have control when you hit the ground as well. Absolutely brilliant. This is a good, interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Where would he move to, and who needs him in their side? Personally, I would not touch Aaron Rodgers with a 20-foot barge pole.
Not now, no.
4 years ago, yeah.
I'd see it this way. Who is in that weird position of having a championship caliber team, but either don't have the quarterback in place?
New York.
I potentially see him either in maybe the Giants, but I think Daniel might have just done enough.
No, I meant the green side.
Yeah,
you think?
Really?
I've been hearing a few rumors. On the Twitter sphere that the New York fans especially are not overly convinced with Zach Wilson this season. He's having that same kind of slump that Mac's having, but his is less as apparent because of the season that Mac had last season was so much high, but Zach Wilson hasn't progressed as they thought he was going to do, and they're not overly impressed. Or he could go to Denver.
Imagine having Wilson and Rodgers, right, and then not having any other players on the pitch because they can't afford it. Like, it'll be Rodgers throwing to Wilson because that's literally all they have. They won't even have a line. I could see him in Indianapolis because the Colts just love signing quarterbacks who are near the end of their lifespan.
Yes, they do.
So that could be something. I mean, we don't even know what's going to happen in Tampa Bay. We assume we assume Tom won't be there next year, but will he retire? Will he look to go elsewhere? And then don't forget when everyone thought Tom Brady was retiring, we saw quite a lot of these things that came through the wire of, all right, so and so went to so and so, and there was all things. Well, where's Jimmy Garoppolo going to go? Deshaun Watson's going to go here, and like all these knock-on effects of all this, and then he unretired, and then everything stopped. Tom Brady retiring will just have another. I mean, because you'll find there'll be more teams that will needing a quarterback. The Saints will need a quarterback next year, and the Bucks will need a quarterback next year. The Colts will need a quarterback next year. Who else looking at the list? The Texans. The Texans could look for one. The Giants could look for one. The Jets could look for one. The Falcons need one. The Panthers need one. So there are stupid enough owners who would roll the dice on trying to get Rodgers, even if it's just for jersey sales alone.
Boys, we don't know. We don't know quarterback situation either, do we?
So Kelly's said, I think teams would rather take a chance on a rookie QB in the draft than has been Rodgers. And Ollie's come up, gone, especially the QB class is quite strong this year.
Yeah.
Stroud, Levin,
I can see
Bryce
Rodgers going
Young.
somewhere, but I also think if they traded, I think if the Packers traded for Rodgers, it would be draft capital or positional capital, because I wouldn't be surprised if they give a year of Jordan Love.
Yeah, it is have to now. Right, Shano, your catch of the week.
Yes, sir.
I'm so glad you picked this.
I was going to say, you'll be proud of me, but what a fantastic catch. Mac drops back, passes. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, just how cool and normal. And it didn't seem like an effort. He just took it out the air and straight in.
That's all in the catch as well. That's all in the catch. I mean, it's a very formulaic kind of like pass from Mac. I mean, he sees him open, it's slided to the out, but like just how cool he just hands it and just like catches it. It almost walks it in as well.
Yeah.
To quote any given Sunday, he was holding it like a loaf of bread.
Ooh, he's taking it from the bakery and he's taking it home.
I love that film.
Let's roll on to midterms.
Yes.
So this week and next week. This week we're doing AFC. Next week we're going to do NFC. Phil and Ollie will not have 49ers conference. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm absolutely nodded.
So we're going to grade them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go overall grades. What you think their overall, or what we think their overall record's going to end up going to be. We've got a division each to go through, and I've just lost Ollie's things now. Where's it gone? There it is. Who you think they've been their best player is, where they need to improve in the second half of the season, and things like that. And give them an overall grade like A, B, C, D-, ungradable if you're Texans. Okay. So we are going to go with AFC West, which is Ollie's.
Okay.
Running on the bottom is the current ratings. So he is given, record, that's the word I was saying. So he's given Chiefs an A, expecting to be in this position. He's saying their best player is Patrick Mahomes. I would probably, there's a couple of others really good one in there. Chris Jones, maybe.
Travis Kelce.
Kelsey. Butker, the kicker. Improved players, Mecole Hardman. Okay.
Yeah.
They are what? They are 6-2 at the moment. They've got a fairly good. They are building. They are getting better. I think. They are getting better and stronger as they go along the season, which is what a championship team does.
Yeah.
They peak at the Super Bowl. That's what a championship team does. Ollie, if you want to chip in and give some more ones, knock yourself out, mate. He's given Chargers a B. They are currently a 5-3. With a very inconsistent record that flattens them. Yeah, I would possibly. I mean, they've had some big defeats. They've had some big wins this year, and they do look a bit dodgy. Eckler's been their best player. Improved player is Josh Palmer, and I was trying to think who the hell was Josh Palmer. Then I clicked. Been unlucky with the injuries. They have been really unlucky with injuries. Really, really unlucky with injuries. I mean, if they hadn't been injured, J.C. Jackson, who's the other part, Joey Bosa, and the other guy in the DB as well in the defensive side. Obviously, they lost their rookie lineman as well. In that, they've struggled with injuries. I think he's overgraded the Broncos. He's given them a D. I'm guessing Kelly's on about Chiefs. Yeah, but they're not up against much in that division, are they? I'm guessing you mean about the Chiefs. Broncos been poor. Wilson hasn't performed. Traded away their best player. Who was their best? Oh, Bradley Chubb. Had to think then. Even now thinks their best player is Sutton, which is about right. He's given the Raiders an F. Sorry, John. Please chip in. And John's gone. Everyone's bragging this division at the start, and it has fallen flat.
100%.
Yeah. Everyone's gone. This is the vision. This is it. McDaniels is not a good head there. HC, head coach. Over reliant on Adams. Khan not having a great season. Jacobs is the best player. Adams. I'll try and read. Should have read this properly. Adams is the best player. Most improved. Jacobs.
Yeah.
Season is Jacobs. Best player. Adams. Please elaborate that bit, Ollie, if you're still with us. But yeah, he said he's pretty poor overall from what many people expected to be the strongest division in football. With two QBs really not showing up. Chiefs are far the way the best team in that division. I mean, they do have it so easy. John, you're even worse than Denver, apparently. Go on to Ollie. Yeah, I mean, so it's... What do you guys think of that division? I mean, do you agree with Ollie? Are you with it or against it? Oh, Adams is the best player.
I agree with John because I think, like at the start of the season, everybody thought this would be one of those group of death scenarios, But as he said, a lot of the quarterbacks haven't shown up. Some of the players have been dire. The Raiders have the most expensive wide receiver in football. Josh McDaniels, new toy. So as Ollie said, he's over reliant on him, and there's just nothing coming from the Raiders. And the fact that we all thought, new start for Russell Wilson. We thought he'd be good with Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, but nothing at all. And the Chiefs.
I mean, just looking for it, someone needs to stop the Chiefs. Like, I hate Kansas so much. I really do.
No, it's not in earshot. You're okay, mate. No, it's not in earshot.
The Chargers are banged up. I mean, they're a banged up team. They played like they were banged up. They played on the weekend like they were literally limping along. Denver is, I'll die on this hill, Denver is a waste of money for Russell Wilson, and Pete Carroll is laughing
oh my God,
out of what he's gotten out of that deal. And the Raiders have spent, again, I say this every week, that as much fault the Davises have been, whether or not it's Al Davis and then his son, they spend money. They are not afraid to spend money. They've always put their money where their mouth is, in that idea of just win, baby. And everything is pointing towards McDaniels, because this is a team that went, I mean, it's more or less with the addition of Devontae Adams, sorry. I mean, this is more or less the same team that took them to the playoffs last year, and they limped out because of, again, injuries. I don't rate Carr anymore. I think it's apparent that they've reached a ceiling with him, and it was stupid to extend him and pay him even more money. It just feels that out of a division where all of them should really be competing for the AFC Championship, there's only one of them that's actually taking it seriously.
Can you imagine if? Go on.
Sorry, Shane. Kelly agrees with you. She's not a fan of the Chiefs. Mahomes makes me cringe.
Yeah, and I think that's genuinely it, because the Mahomes family around Kansas City, in fact, the Kansas City fans aren't particularly fond of the Mahomeses in general. I think that's part of the reason why I absolutely despise them, and the fact that they beat us in the Super Bowl. But that's part of the reason why I absolutely despise them, because of just that, and the fact that what's his name's son, was driving drunk and killed someone. No, that as well on the week of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Phil's dream division would be Kansas, Sea Chickens, Browns, and you can add a fourth. Well done, John. Shayna, you were about to start something before I jumped on Kelly.
Yeah, just really quickly. Lol. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Devontae Adams went somewhere with a good quarterback, like a Josh Allen, like a Joe Burrow, like a, for argument's sake, Pat Mahomes? Oh my God! You've seen what Tyreek...
Wasn't that the reason why Adams pushed through so much to go to Las Vegas? Is because him and Carr were college buddies. They're friends.
That's right.
It's kind of like with Joe Burrow and what's his name, Chase, college friends.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I get to play with my buddy again, but this time we get paid to do it instead of nothing like they do in the in the college syndicate. So I can kind of see him wanting to play with his friends, but it's not working out. It's really not. No. They depress me. The Raiders actually depress me, and not in a fun, cool way.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm gonna go for the North.
Come on,
Shane, would you like to take the North?
Yes, please. Like the Ravens will take the North as well. But I'll start from the bottom. We'll start with Pittsburgh. And they've just been awful. Just a massive regression since Big Ben has gone. They brought in Pickett in the draft, but they thought, we don't want to start with our first pick in the draft. We want to start with Mitch, and Mitch hasn't worked out. So they've got to Kenny Pickett, and he's been it's a hard way to adapt. As I said earlier on, from the college game to the pro game. He's suffering at the moment. There's not a lot there. They're currently 2-6. I think they're going to finish with a losing record. Personally, I don't know. I don't even know. I could throw this out there to the comment section. Who do you think has been the most improved player for the Steelers? Because I can't wrap my head around it. I would have said Chase Claypool, but he's gone. I
think they've got two very good defensive players in TJ and Mika Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Two very, very good players in that side of the ball. Najee Harris is non-existent this year.
Yeah, 100%.
You said they digressed since Big Ben left this year. I think they were lucky to make the playoffs last year. It wasn't Big Ben that...
They weren't up there at that point. They were down anyway, but they've gone down further.
Yeah. What about Cleveland? This is going to be interesting. Good job, Phil's not doing this one.
Yes.
The eyes.
As unbiased as possible. Once again, it's another season where the Browns have loaded up talent. They've done it previously, and we all thought, here's a team to look out for. And they just do nothing. They've signed, obviously, Deshaun, and we await his debut with bated breath to see if he can save their season. Brissett, I think everybody knew what they were getting with Brissett. He's middle of the road. He's going to be QB2 when Deshaun comes. Amari Cooper's been all right. He's been there and thereabouts. He scored the odd touchdown here and there, but nothing. But he hasn't lit the world on fire. They're currently 3-5. I think they may finish the season above 500. It's going to be tight, but they will. And I think I'm going to give them a D+. A D+, I think.
That's very generous. I know there's someone sitting to my left that I'd probably give them a U-.
Go on, Phil.
Do you know what? Those Browns, right? I'd permanently exclude them from the school. I'd put them on early study leave. Like genuinely, I'm just like, Those, all right. So those would be, and this is really teacher of me as well, and I'll get onto it when I get to my division. The Browns are the equivalent of, I will put them on year report because they generally just get on my nerves. It was I'm just going to make it an inconvenience for them to keep putting them report. So yeah,
to get out like.
On to Cincy.
Yes. And there's the team many believed would win this division, and before the season started, that's a big shout as well. A lot of people have said that, but before the season started, of course, coming off getting the Super Bowl last year, they were, they played really well, and Jamar and Joe Burrow, that connection was on fire. But again, another team that's regressed. They're currently 5-4. Losing that loss to the Browns was awful. And if you're capable of doing that, what else are you capable of?
Please, I'll still get there.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's a long season yet. We shall see. I think Joe Burrow's taking a step back a bit. That O-line isn't what it was. They've lost a few pieces.
The O-line is more of a turnstile than it was last year.
I was going to say, exactly. He feels like he's getting less protection than he was getting last year.
I can't remember who it was, but which was the lineman who said, "Don't worry, you're now protected, or you're now safe, or I will not let anyone hit you." And it's like, he's had more sacks this year than he has from last year up to this point. They get that O-line sorted. I mean, you saw what they did at the weekend, in that first half. They blew away, I want to say, the Chargers, but it wasn't. Yeah. And they blew them away. And they can do it. They are almost there. They just need to get that O-line sorted, and they'll be fine. You can see what Joe Burrow does when he's playing well.
Yeah, 100%. He is very much capable of it. But like you said, that O-line is it's more of a turnstile than Old Trafford on a Saturday afternoon. Do you know what I mean? The amount of people that get through it.
Just Saturday afternoon?
Well, yeah, just shush now. All right, I'm moving on to my beloved Ravens. I could talk all day about these, but I'm going to keep it short.
Wait. Sorry. How come he gets to talk about his beloved Ravens, I can't talk about my 49ers next week?
Because two will be on it all bloody day. Yeah, we try to keep the show to an hour, not a year.
I tell you what, the week when it was just me and Ollie, and it was 49er heaven. Okay,
I can imagine, man.
No interruptions. We were perfect synced. It was brilliant. It's fantastic. So just let us know next time you two can't, make the pod.
I'll make it short and sweet. Like I said, we are currently 6-3. We will win this division. Based upon what I've seen Monday night, hopefully we've stopped throwing the game in the fourth quarter. Now we should be okay. When we play the Panthers on the 20th, now after the bye week, we'll have a lot of players back. Gus Edwards is back. J.K. Dobbins is back. I think David Ojabo is playing his first game after the bye as well. Tyrus Bowser just come back. The addition of Roquan Smith, he looks like he was born in Baltimore Monday night. Oh my word, what a player. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think we win this division. I'm going to give us a B+. We're there, but not all the way.
What would you give the Cincies?
C+, I want to say. Because like I said, they're the same. They're not, obviously we're in front of them. They are not where they should be yet, but a couple of and maybe less injuries, they should be all right.
Yeah, I mean, this season's going to be a season of attrition more than anything else, I think. Yeah, go on, let's do the South.
Right then, so I can tell that you guys have no experience in working in education, so I'm just going to compare this to my day-to-day talkings. All right, so if we're going to be talking about the Tennessee Titans, okay, now the Tennessee Titans scream to me as a team that every now and then you get a glimpse of quality. They have one player, unless it goes through King Henry himself, the Tennessee Titans do not actually function as a team offensively and defensively. They have one player that runs their complete offense. I mean, just looking at their particular stats in particular, I mean, Henry leads the NFL with 870 rushing yards. Okay.
Of course he does.
Their offensive line has undergone, a little bit of shuffling around because there's been injuries. The massive question mark is always going to be based around, is Tannehill good enough? and whether or not the people that potentially could come in. But if I'm thinking about it, they'll probably win the division. It's not a particularly strong division in the grand scheme of things and across the NFL. They are the type of team, using it as students, that they will do very little work. And yet somehow when it comes to assessment week or mock week, they'll just somehow fall forward and potentially get a C- on the assessment. They're going to get to the playoffs, but they're not going to really do anything in the playoffs.
Typical Tennessee.
Typical Tennessee.
Kelly says the division is beyond irrelevant. Sorry, Phil.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's why I think I'm trying to make it a little bit more entertaining than it actually is. The Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, to me now, seem to be that they are a class, like a subject, whilst their main teacher has gone off on long-term sick, and now they're a couple of months away from their GCSEs, and they're getting cover supervisors to deliver one-word lesson plans. Okay, they have no direction. They're not really prepared for anything. There's massive behavioral problems. There's massive culture problems, just like the worst behavior class that you can possibly think of on a timetable. The Colts are very likely to be resitting their GCSEs at college, and I don't expect them to do anything. They might get a wild card. We just don't know, because there might be a couple of diamonds in the rough. But this Jeff Saturday experiment is making the whole NFL kind of like chuckle with their backs to Indianapolis. I think that they are a very, very strong E+.
I knew, Kelly. I was just taking the mic. Don't worry.
The Jacksonville Jaguars. ETN is phenomenal. I've said it multiple weeks. He's been the standout for me.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence started the season really strong, and then he's kind of lost his way a little bit. But then he did have a particularly good game against the Raiders. But that doesn't really tell us anything about his progression, because everyone is having a great game against the Raiders. He's been sacked 16 times. And interesting stats. Lawrence has been bad in the red zone. His QPR rating is 10.8, and this ranks him at 31st. The only one that has a worse red zone QPR rating is Russell Wilson. So he's making
that explains a lot for Wembley.
Yeah, well, exactly. So that. Do I think that pound for pound they're better than the Colts? No, I think they're the exact same. So I'm going to say Jacksonville are a strong E, whilst considering that last year they were an F. So it is showing that they are progressive. And again, they are a young team, and I'm assuming they will get better next year. I think next year is when we'll really see whether or not Trevor Lawrence is going to be the quarterback that we hope he will be for another team in the future. And then you've got your kid that's never in school because they have behavior problems, so they're always suspended. They're never really in. They're always trying to get out of your lesson. And then sometimes when they make some progress, then they kind of like flip you the finger, and then they've been suspended again. They have a very, 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 very small highlight, which I think is Pierce. No, not Pierce. Yeah, is it Damian Pierce?
Damian Pierce. Damian
Pierce, only because I've just found like another Pierce as well, but he plays for the Colts as also a rookie.
That's the wide receiver.
Davis Mills, I still don't know whether or not he's good. And I know I talked about it on Monday where the quarterbacks that were taken in round 1, he was one of them that got drafted.
He was in round 3, he went, didn't he?
He was but like in terms of like he was drafted with that draft class. I don't know whether or not he's the future. I think last year it was made a necessity because they realized that they had to get rid of Deshaun Watson because they couldn't send him to another school because someone fumbled the paperwork. So we're kind of stuck in this scenario here. I think the Texans are hoping to win the Tank Bowl. And I think they are definitely ungradable at this point.
So John's coming with a couple of questions. I'm going to put this one first, saying we don't need to keep saying sorry to John. He's completely in agreement about the Raiders this season. That's fine. Then,
but I feel sorry because I like the Raiders. That's the problem. Like I just love everything that the historical culture around the Raiders. They just can't help themselves.
And he's asked, will JT be at the Colts next season? Now he's in his 3rd season, So he has got one more year on his rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was taken first round. Can't remember off the top of my head. If he was, they'll have that option to obviously for his 5th year option. But then, is he going to want to be sticking around and playing there? And is he going to want to play in the tag if they keep in the tag and stuff like that? This is.
It depends. Does he want the money? Because I mean, the lifespan of a running back, unless you're Frank Gore, is very, 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 very limited.
Yeah.
Or does he want the glory? I don't. I've never really had too much interaction in terms of looking him up. He's very, very talented. He seems that he loves the team, but does he love it enough to go through? I mean, let's be honest again. I know I've made light of it already. The Jeff Saturday appointment is a joke. The owner is a joke. They have no direction now. They keep bringing quarterbacks that are well past their sell-by date, whether or not it's one final payday or it's a cheap day. They're just looking like they're cutting corners. Does he want to be in a team that is looking to cut corners, or does he want the money? It again. I don't have an answer. I don't think I know. I don't think he knows yet.
Yeah.
I think they'll wait until the new head coach, because we don't know who's going to be head coach. The head coach might want to trade him or restructure it or whatever to get different draft capital. We don't know.
Okay, my turn. Hey, on to the AFC East. I'm going to go 1 to 4 because I'm going to leave mine.
Wait a second. You get to do the Patriots as well? Like, what?
I'll tell you what. I will go next week. You and Ollie can both do your division, and I'll do another division, and we'll do a spinny wheel, and whoever it lands on does your division.
Okay.
Yeah? Is that fair?
Okay.
We'll do that one, so it makes it nice and fair, and you can decide.
Fair. Oh, it's only fair now. It's like you've allowed like the Newcastle takeover to happen, and then you're like, oh wait, we'll change the rules so that it doesn't happen again. So yes, thank you for making it fair after you boys have had whatever you want out of this pie anyway. Fair, man. Like, look at you, man.
Here. Oh, bloody
big one as well. Sitting there just outside Worcester, smugly, man.
Yeah, man.
Just outside Worcester.
I'm not gonna. You could. You'll be able to tell I'm not a teacher, so I can't do it like that one there. No, that one there. I know. I was thinking there when he was going through it, going, I would love to be sitting in on your parents' evenings.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Let's start with Buffalo. So, Buffalo, I did have all my things there, and then my son took my laptop, as you might have seen, because his tablet's not working. Buffalo are where we expect them to be, aren't they? To be fair, they are one of the better teams in the NFL. They are got probably the most explosive offense in the NFL with Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Singletary. They've got a great free punch, and they've got Knox as well, who can there. I'm going to buck the trend. I don't think number 17 is their best player. I personally think a number 14, Stephon Diggs, is their best player.
Yeah, he's class.
I mean, we've all gone how good Sauce Gardner is this season. Sauce Gardner has given up hardly any yardage, no touchdowns, hardly anything. That first play against Diggs, and he was burnt. They're 0-2 in their division, which is what they shouldn't be. They've lost to the Jets and they've lost to Dolphins. But they've beaten Titans handsomely. They beat last year's Super Bowl champions easily. They've beaten like that one down there as well, his lot. Fairly comfortably. They've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten the Chiefs. They absolutely blew away the Packers in the first half. So they've got it there, but they've had stupid mistakes. I mean, they shouldn't have lost against the Dolphins. And they shouldn't have lost in New York. Admittedly, they are both away from home, and Dolphins in the summer is not an easy place to go to. No. It's going to be interesting what happens with Allen's shoulder or elbow injury the next couple of weeks. There is slight talks he could be out. There is talks that he's day-to-day. There is talks going he's fine. But tendon problems. You're not going to grip the ball properly, so it's going to restrict them. You know, they've got a fairly comfortable schedule coming up. You know, they got Vikings on Sunday, which is massive. Then they got Browns, Lions, us twice. You know, and they got the Bears. Okay, they've got to go to Cincy as well, and they've got to go to, they've got Miami. So they've got a fairly good run in. They will probably pick up another couple of defeats in there. So probably going to end up a 13-4. Because of their silly defeats to Miami and to New York, I've given them a B+. I don't think they're quite there yet. New York Jets. Now, this is probably going to be a bit going, why the hell have you given the New York Jets the grade they've given them? Who would expect New York Jets to be 5-3? Yeah, they are 5-3.
6-3. We say it every week.
Yeah, 6-3. I mean, they lost to the Ravens week 1. They lost to Cincinnati their first week of the win of the season. And they've lost to us, which they always lose to us. So that's no surprise there. I think their best player is one of their rookies. I think 2 of their best players is their rookies. One of them went down, I want to say week 7. Was it Bryce Hall? He went down week 7. Sauce Gardner is an amazing player.
Yeah.
He is, you know, I wasn't overly sold on him at the combine, and I'll back this. Kelly will back me up on this one if she sees this. I wasn't overly sourced on him.
See what you did there.
Oh my God, he is absolutely brilliant. He is high in the rankings of passes given away or passes not received. The yardage against him, he's leading a lot of the DB stats. You know, the important stats. This bloke is brilliant. They've improved. The O-line is getting better. Their weak point is Zach Wilson. That is their issue, I think. We said a bit earlier on in the show that Zach Wilson's the issue. And I still think he is going to be the issue. I don't know. I don't think they're going to go for a QB for the next couple of years, but we'll see what happens. I've given them an A+ or A-, sorry, because I didn't think they'll be anywhere near a 6-3 team. You know, they've got, you know, they've got Bears, they've got Vikings, they've got Bills again, Lions, Jags. They could quite easily, you know, pick another 6-7 wins or 6 wins on this one. That's interesting. You've just popped on their shape, Phil. Miami are strange team. They've got 2 of the best wide receivers in the league in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And I think Jalen Waddle's probably their best player with his little stupid Waddle dance when he celebrates his touchdown. They are really good, and he showed when they went down how important Tua is to them. So when Tua was down, they did not look the same team. And, you know, okay, they had a third-string quarterback, you know, and he struggled. You know, they've beaten us. They always beat us. But they lost 3 games on the bounce, you know, to the Vikings, to the Jets, and to the Bengals. Arguably, Vikings and the Bengals are probably going to be 2 of the best teams in the NFL this year, probably playoff contending teams. But they've not blown anyone out of the water, apart from us. And on that note, I think personally their most improved player is Tua. And you know, Ollie will back me this. I was not a fan of Tua, and you know, in the college he was explosive. He was exciting. He was a brilliant quarterback. Had that injury at the, you know, and you don't see the same Tua that he had in there. They had them. So I've given them a B-, slightly worse than Buffalo, despite their record of being a 6-3 as well. I think they could have been a little bit more. They could have been charging and chasing Buffalo a bit closer, and that's why I had them at the end of the season. Now on to my lot. We spent all that money to go out there and see them lose. Great. So that's why I give them a lower grading now. Seriously. There is a lot of issues on the offensive side of that ball. Coaching staff, play calling. You could call it Mac, players doing stupid things, injuries as well, as that. Thank God we have got Matt Judon, who's probably the best pass rusher in the league. Sorry, Ollie. Sorry, Phil. Sorry, Shane. But he is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I have put money on him winning Defensive Player of the Year. He is superb. Man love going on there. Meeting him there hasn't helped. Get the offense fixed, and we'll be a lot better. I mean, I hope with this bye week will help them get it fixed. But it needs to improve on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense still needs to be playing as well as they are. Because defense and special teams are brilliant. Nick Folk is MVP caliber. He doesn't miss. It's ridiculous. Mondre Severs, and we've already mentioned him tonight, by far the best player. He was very much a bit part player last year. Wasn't very reliable. He's on par to be our first 800 carry running back and our first 1,000 yard rusher for, I think it was like 8 years, 9 years. I can't see us getting over 500. I don't see us making the playoffs. Even if we do, this division could end up us all being roughly the same records, and all four of us could go in, or we could miss out on divisional record. But I've given us a C. What's Curtis said? Our record though in the end of the division we would be flying. Yeah, 5 and 4 we'd be winning most of the divisions. Especially in the NFC. There's 4 divisions we would have been winning in this. It's ridiculous. New England 5 and 4, and if they were in the NFC South, they would be leading it. It says a lot, doesn't it? It's mad.
For years, the Jets were the whipping boys of this division, and they couldn't really bring themselves up to the class of the other 3 teams. Now, I think pretty much the Jets, Miami, and New England are on the same level, but Buffalo are far and away the better team. But the fact that every one of those teams will give Buffalo a game,
Yeah. I mean, everyone thought that Buffalo would be running away with the whole league, let alone the division, and they're not. They are barely scraping it through. I mean, they've had a couple of 3 weeks. It's halfway through the season. It's week 9. We've had 9 weeks. But yeah, I think. Drop the comments in. Obviously, this video will be running around on Facebook and YouTube. Let us know what you think our ratings should be, and let us know on Mr. Perrin's markings. And would you like him
I'm
as your
teacher?
teacher?
I'm just a very harsh teacher. I mean, I'm not right. My GCSE results this year were absolute. I have a 78% pass rate as a teacher, which nationally is incredibly high. So in terms of me marking harshly, I am an absolute arsehole because I just have a really, really high standard of stuff. So I mean, I'm just going to compare teams to kids that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So
love it.
I've been a teacher long enough now. I've been a teacher 8 years, so I'm like, I know that.
I could never do you a job. I'm like a bad doctor. I got no patience. Do you know what I mean? I can never do you a job.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I lost my patience today with my year group. It was amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Mr. Perrins, it's over to This Week in Football, dear sir, and the voice is here.
Yes. This week in football history, Hall of Famer Walter Payton ran for a career high of 75 rushing yards and 40 carries in the Chicago Bears' 10-7 win against the Vikings in Week 10 in 1977. He set the then record for most rushing yards in a single NFL game history. Now he ranks 5th of all time, but then he was the number 1 and the gold standard of what running back should aspire to be.
Did you say 75 yards and 40 carries?
275 yards and 40 carries.
Sorry, I apologize.
Absolutely. In more modern history, Kyler Murray became the first player in NFL history with 1+ passing TD yards and 1+ rushing TD yards in 5 consecutive games in the Cardinals' 32-30 win against the Buffalo Bills in Week 10 of the 2020 season. His passing yards that day was 240 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 61 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and he threw a Hail Murray game-winning 43-yard touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins with 2 seconds remaining in the game. I have one more stat for you because I have a segment within a segment.
Oh, look at him.
All right, you're going to love this. This game, this takes us back a ways to the 1994 season, a season that is best known for Steve Young getting that monkey off his back and winning the San Francisco 49ers' 5th NFL Super Bowl. But this particular game, it was Sunday, the 6th of November. A team from Tampa played Chicago in a 20-6 loss. Now, the quarterback that day threw 13 passes. He completed 13. He attempted 25. He managed 150 yards. He had a 52% completion record, average of 6 yards. His longest was 42. He was sacked twice and threw an interception. His quarterback rating that day was 53.3, one of the lowest recorded in that particular season. But wait, it got worse as the season progressed. That quarterback that day, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, don't
do
it.
He came from Fresno State. He is from Santa Cruz, California. He was born on the 13th of the 3rd, 1972. Yes, it was Trent Dilfer.
Sorry,
that concludes this week in Dilfer.
This week in Dilfer.
A segment where I deep dive into this man's incredibly lackluster career for my own enjoyment purposes. Thank you, Trent. Thank you for the many episodes to come. Thank you.
Oh my god. I thought John thought you said you were going to say Jimmy G with those stats.
Oh, Jimmy's time will come. Jimmy's time will come.
Obviously, we got football tonight. Falcons against Panthers, so that's going to be an interesting game. Not.
I was actually thinking the same thing. Where I go, oh, what's on tonight? And I looked at it. Yeah, cheers Thursday, not football.
Kyle Pitts hat-trick.
I am really looking forward to that game in Germany. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Good Morning Football while I'm working really hard. I'm really looking forward to that German game. I think the German fans are going to be absolutely mental in that stadium. I'm really looking forward to that one. What about you guys? Is there any games that you're particularly looking forward to via the Niners games, Mr. Phil?
I mean, without sounding, relatively arrogant, I do think the 49ers will win on Monday. But I'm actually really intrigued with the Vikings-Bills matchup. That is really going to see how good the Vikings are. And then at the end of the spectrum, I'm also looking at the Lions versus the Bears, another divisional matchup. Because I think the Lions are coming off of a really, really impressive performance, despite the form of the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that's a bit of buzz, picking off Aaron Rodgers 3 times. Justin Fields is getting better. Absolutely getting better. And then, I mean, as much as I absolutely despise the Kansas City Chiefs, they are going to put the Jags to the sword. Like, it is going to be hot. It's going to be watching a bloodbath. Like, honestly.
That's going to be evil to watch, isn't it?
And then just lastly as well, the later game on Sunday, the Cardinals against the Rams. I mean, divisional rivals, but at the same time, you've got teams that aren't very good. and they have quarterbacks that no one really knows if they can rate. Like, really, I mean, Kyler Murray can be good, but then he's massively inconsistent. And then Stafford, is he going to actually hit a receiver, or is he going to find a DB? Like,
or is Stafford actually going to play?
Well, if Stafford's going to play, I mean, that's another thing as well. And Cowboys versus Packers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, you just
lots of good lineups. I presume he means lots of good lineups this week. But yeah, there is.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some intriguing
in terms of games,
matchups.
Yeah. I believe so. But yeah, if I was going to pick one, Vikings Bills for me, pound for pound.
Yeah, pound for
That'd
pound.
be a nice early game as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's is it being? I did read something was being flexed, but I don't think it's being moved. Anyway, I still think it's the normal time slots.
I mean,
Shano, any games?
Do we? Oh, sorry, just before we break, with the Germany game, only because I've been a little bit absent this week, due to work. Is the game going to be broadcasted by BBC or ITV, or is it going to be on Sky? Like, do we know who the coverage is going to be from?
It's on Sky.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling it is Rich Eisen, Mike Irvine. What's the? Oh, I can't think of the Rams quarterback. Kurt Warner and the other dude. I can't think of his name.
No, I just thinking whether it was like the British, because like when they show it over to here, like with the London games where they throw Laurel Woods out or they throw out Dan Brown.
No, I think it is Sky Guys being showing it. I believe
that's fine. That's absolutely
fine. That's the thing I'm looking at.
I'm really excited for that because sorry, then I will shut up, Shane. I'm really sorry. It's just really it is just for like me being like it being in Germany. We're so used to like the international games, and it's been such a great thing for our country. I mean, when we were talking about when we were over there, we ran into some Germans. Well, I ran into some Germans. Ollie said he was talking to a lad from like Denmark or something. I mean, one of the Germans I run into, he was wearing I think he was wearing. What was he wearing? I think he was wearing a Broncos jersey. And you just hear him muttering like in a thick German accent. And when I see a Kansas City fan, I'm going to hit him. But like, he was all doing in like really good jest. And it was kind of like that's kind of cool. So we take for granted our international games. So it's great that other countries like Germany, because it's only going to build up the brand. And as it goes and goes and goes on. I mean,
Germany
hopefully we might get
champions.
Yeah, I mean, then we might actually get like a European, conference that we might get to actually see compete with the rest of the NFL. But anyway, zip it. I'll shut up. I'm sorry, Shane. Continue.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Like I said, I hope it's not on ITV because our Jack Crawford could talk an aspirin to sleep. Do you know what I mean? So I'm glad it's not him. I'm glad it's on Sky. That's great. The Seahawks and the Bucks game is intriguing. I'm gonna have to go for Geno in that game. To be fair, I think the Bucks are on a downswing. Lions and Bears is going to be tank bowl. That's going to be a bit of fun to watch. And Phil, and I'm telling you now, right? Don't count the Jags out against the Chiefs. The Jags have
behave.
Right. Any given Sunday, honestly, any given Sunday. And then Jags played really well against the Raiders last week, and they played well the week before.
And so I beat the Bills last season.
See, like I said, don't count anybody out. But as we've already established, the game of the weekend, without fail, is Vikings Bills.
Actually muted himself.
That's going to be a cracking game, that is, and it's nice to actually watch a slate of games and not give myself a heart attack with LJ's handling of the ball.
I know, it's nice, isn't it? It is nice. It's boring at the same time, but it's nice. On to predictions, competition. Shane, you are leading the way on 25. I'm a couple back on 23. Phil, you're drifting back on 18, and Ollie is in a different time zone now completely. You've already given one prediction on the one. So we are going for the Germany game, which is Seattle against Tampa.
Yes.
Vikes against the Bills.
Bills. Josh Allen
Chargers against the Niners. And Cards Rams. So, Shano, as you're leading the way, would you like to go first, sir?
Yes, certainly. I'll go with 49ers just to make my other two buddies happy, put a smile on their face. And what was the other game? Cards Rams.
Yep.
Rams. There you go. Cooper Cup. Rams.
And did you say Seattle and Bills?
Yes. I think Seattle are going to win. Yeah.
And the Bills, was it as well?
Yes, and the Bills. Yeah, you got
it. As I'm second, I'll go second. I'm following you on that route. I am going Seattle.
Okay.
I'm going against you, though. I'm going Minnesota.
Okay.
I thought this before the Josh Allen story came out that he's injured, blah, blah, blah. I'm making it a hat trick because obviously Ollie's gone for Niners as well. And I'm going for Cardinals. I just think the Rams look too poor. Kelly is going for Hawks, Vikes, Niners, and Cards.
Okay.
You're copying me again.
Well, this week's as well.
She'll be in Wales watching it this weekend, though, unfortunately.
Hey.
Yep. Mr. Perrins.
So Thursday I did an assembly to my year group, and it was all based around resilience. And I used prime example. I put a picture of Tom Brady, after the back of him, getting his milestone of 100,000 yards. And I just think there's been so much positivity around Tom Brady this week. I think he is coming towards the end of his career, but I think he still has enough to beat the Seahawks this week. I think the Seahawks will lose to Tampa. I think the Vikings are going to beat the Bills. That's why I generally think. I think off the back of it, their offense is ticking at the right time. Their defense looks really, really solid, and on special teams, they don't look like they're going to choke, which is quite new for a Vikings fan. I've been keeping an eye on not necessarily like the 49ers injury this week, because Jason Verrett is out for the season because he has now torn his ACL, but we are getting players back like Elijah Mitchell, Al-Shaair is coming back, Eric Armstead might be this weekend, or we might be the week after. Elijah Mitchell's back, so we get Debo's back. So we're getting all of our pieces in the right place off the back of a bye week, which came off the back of us decimating the Rams. Christian McCaffrey's in a good place. I just think the 49ers are going to win by at least 2 scores. So go and put your money on San Fran
on the Chargers, guys.
Yeah, I know. I'm building up to that. But yeah, if you guys, but I mean, I just think it's game time now for the 49ers. If they're going to compete, these are the games, because the rest of the schedule looks very, very winnable as well, including this one.
Exactly.
And then I think the Rams are really poor. I think the Rams are really, really, really poor. I think the Cardinals are also bad, but I think they're not as bad as Los Angeles. So I'm going to go with Cards.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's so something. Apart from the Niners, it is a 50-50 split between the other 3 games.
Yeah.
So Ollie's gone Tampa. He's gone Buffalo. He's copied everyone else and gone Niners. So Chargers are going to win that game. And he's gone for the Rams. John's gone Seahawks, Bills, Chargers, not Cards. Is that so make sure the Niners win, John? But it is. I mean, Ollie put a comment earlier on. It's gone around somewhere now that he is looking forward to seeing Debo and C-Mac together, because that is going to be scary. Scary.
When we said it a couple of weeks ago with the Rams, the addition of Christian McCaffrey being such a versatile player, Debo is Debo. Like, when he's on it, he's on it. Ayuk is a very, very, very capable deep ball winner. George Kittle, again, when George Kittle's fit, when George Kittle's in the I think these players coming back at the right time, being healthy at the right time, takes so much pressure off of Jimmy. And I am not a Jimmy defender. I mean, I've spent the last 12, 13 weeks talking about Jimmy and how much I don't rate him. But I think having less pressure and having options, so he doesn't have to do everything himself, is really good for him. So I think, that's that.
Yeah, a good quarterback is only as good as their team.
A good quarterback is only as good as his attitude to winning as well as losing.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Tom Brady, cough, cough.
Cam Newton.
Show me a picture of a good loser and I'll show you a loser.
Yeah.
I literally say that. I say that so many times a week at school. I'm not even joking.
Mate, I've been starting to say it in my team talks now, pre-matches.
Yeah.
Ollie, we do wish you all the best of luck, and we hope to see you back on Monday in some kind of health. Shano, thank you very much for joining in, as per usual. As same with you, Mr. Parent, and I do love the new Niners top. That is
blackout,
sick.
baby. Blackout.
That is sick, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back on Monday for the weekend review. We will see you Monday, 8:30. Stay safe, all.
Go Flames. Come on, boys.
Let's ride.